What's up? It's a Friday. I feel like I haven't sat in my bedroom in LA and just talked for like a long time. So basically, just wanted to explain what's been going on in my life because I've been taking some time off. When I moved to LA back in September, I moved here with my best friend, and obviously I was still doing TV segments and had my blog and all this stuff and had started my nonprofit Mint, and was going into schools and talking to kids. And then I moved here just to kind of like try it out. I didn't know what was gonna happen. And then I ended up getting representation, and I got a manager who scouted me because they saw me on a TV segment. And then all this stuff started happening. They decided to make basically a TV show based on my life. So they attached a writer to that show, and then they wanted to make another one, so they attached a writer to that. And basically, when I moved here, I wasn't expecting any of that stuff to happen. So I have been doing everything that I've done, and like Bill and my website and everything, the nonprofit, the podcast, on my own for so long. Not ever like really thinking necessarily about the future. I didn't know I necessarily wanted to be like an Ellen or an Oprah, which is what I kind of envisioned myself being hopefully in like 5, 10, 15 years from now when I started. So everything is really like trial and error. So basically, like 2 months ago, I just got to this place where I was meeting people every day. I was meeting with my team, I was meeting with attorneys, I was meeting with so many different people, and it was so amazing. And I kind of felt like I was on this high, like, you know, things were working out, and I was getting so many yeses and meeting all these different people, and like, you know, constantly pitching myself to the place that like I would get up at midnight to talk to my website designer, because this is when I was still rebuilding, like designing the new life in the fashion lane. Then I would go back to bed till like 6 a.m. I would get up, I would go to the gym, I would post the podcast, I would edit a video, I would write a blog post, I would go to 5 more meetings and sell myself to so many more people, which is so awesome. Just constantly like selling yourself, which is so cool, basically pitching my blog and the nonprofit and what I'm trying to do and inspire teens. And then I started to notice that my personal life was kind of slacking off a bit. I wasn't really paying too much attention to anybody around me besides this world of LA that I was in. And so my friendships and relationships kind of started to really be in the back of my mind. And I was so busy just focusing on my career, and that was really great. And then I went to Arizona for the Arizona Women's Conference, and that week was really rough. I realized that a lot of the yeses I had gotten were kind of still in the works, and things weren't necessarily going as quickly as I thought they were going to be from the past 4 weeks of just like fast-paced all the time, nonstop. And I had been doing This Is Life Unfiltered and was just putting my entire life on the internet, which I've been doing for so long, you know, just posting everything about myself on the internet and my journey and my life story and everything. And then I was in Scottsdale and kind of just had this really terrible moment where I just freaked out. Like, I ended up getting pretty depressed and really anxious, didn't want to get out of bed, and I don't even know. So I decided to kind of take social media off for a few days while I was in Arizona. I went to the conference, I met some really cool people, I talked about social media and mental health, and then decided to put This Is Life Unfiltered on hold for a bit, because there's so much stuff that happens off of the internet. And I realized for a second that I was posting every single step of my day, my life, my hour on the internet, and that allows you to connect with so many people, but it also allows you to become so vulnerable. So I was getting messages and comments and questions and emails about so many personal things in my life that I've talked about. My dad, my sister, like everything, from people that I didn't know, which always kind of happened, but I think that the more publicity I've gotten in my career, the more it's allowed people to kind of dive deeper into my story. And I think that that is definitely what sets me apart, the fact that I'm so honest and real, and hopefully you guys feel inspired by me and being completely on my own and like trying to follow this career path. But living in LA and living in this industry in general is so exhausting, and it's so go all the time. And the thing is, because I financially support myself, I do everything on my own. Like, I run my own company, I have my own people that I have to you know, talk to my managers and their people, and then I have to talk to my assistant, and there's all this stuff. So basically I was in Scottsdale, and then I just kind of put everything on hold, and I went from this 6 weeks basically of like going every day talking to people and feeling so exhausted and like so like happy but exhausted, and I wasn't hanging out with my friends, and I wasn't talking to anybody because I was just working all the time. Then I went to Arizona and got in like a pretty bad place of just like stress and anxiety and questioning everything, because of like little things that were happening, and like when these big things happen and then little things happen in between that, and then you kind of start to question, what are you actually doing? Like, who am I? Is this what I want to do? So I decided to put This Is Life Unfiltered on hold for a bit, just because of what is happening in my life off the internet, but also just because I really kind of realized over the past week that what you put on the internet is there for forever, and the more open and honest you are, and the more all these bloggers and influencers and social media people talk about their personal issues and what they're dealing with in their life, the more they enable themselves to be kind of picked apart. And I've never been at this place in my career where I feel like I've got these eyes on me that I never had on me before. So yeah, so that's basically it. So I'm just trying to live more in the moment. I went to Coachella. I didn't have my phone off the whole time. I had fun with my friends. I danced. I just hung out and had fun. And yeah, so I just want you guys to know that whenever you're feeling really stressed or overwhelmed or even sad or depressed, that you'll always get through that moment. Like, that was, the past 4 weeks have probably been the worst 4 weeks of my entire life, my whole career. And I can't even explain why, for like business reasons, and also just like, I don't even know how to put it into words, but I'm 20 years old and I run a company, and it's exhausting, and I have to think of everything I have to pay for and do every day to exist. And that means that because of that, some of the projects that I want to do, I can't fully put myself into. So I plan to bring This Is Life Unfiltered back because I do really love it, and I think that the guests I've had on it are great. But it's kind of waiting on a few other things that are happening, whether or not I bring it back. And for Mint, which is the nonprofit I started back in 2017, that is my baby. I love Mint so much. But both Mint and This Is Life Unfiltered, I started with business partners. So I started Mint with a business partner, with 4 business partners actually, back in 2016. And now it's 2018 and it's just me. I just decided that who I was working with and kind of surrounding myself with when it came to Mint wasn't the best selection of people. I don't think that would really help take the company to the next level. And I'm really somebody who wants to put my full into everything. And right now I don't feel like I can put that into Mint, and I also can't pay a board of people to run a nonprofit full-time, because if you don't know, running a nonprofit full-time is crazy. Like, it's absolutely insane. So I still occasionally pitch schools, and if we're reached out to, like, I reply to them and will like happily go in. But I think the best thing for me to do right now is try and brand myself and focus on expanding my company of A Life in the Fashion Lane to be the best platform out there and everything relating to teens, and doing the conference I'm doing next week in DC, and the Pennsylvania Women's Conference with Amal Clooney in October, which is awesome. And then, you know, the more that I can kind of get myself out there, the more that the nonprofit and This Is Life Unfiltered can really take off. So I just hope that during this time you bear with me and understand that I'm like, it's all still there. It's just, I think I have to focus on myself for a bit right now, and focus on just like having fun and being 20 years old and not being so serious, because that's my problem. My biggest downfall is like, I am the most serious person you will ever meet. Like, I am so involved with working all the time that I don't know how to take a break. And now I think instead of doing social media less Sundays, I want to do social media less Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No social media on these days, because honestly, the minute I go on social media, some days I feel so like just unhappy, and I don't like that feeling. So like this morning I woke up and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I just got up and I put my laundry away and I meditated and I went and ate breakfast. Then I went on my phone at 9 a.m. and went on Instagram. And like, I text people and call people before that, but not go on Instagram. So I think that's my best advice. And definitely, I talked more about this in my newsletter last week, which you can subscribe in the link below, and also on www.alifeinthefashionlane. Basically goes into more about why taking time off is so important, and also just realizing that you have to live in the moment and you don't have to do everything on social media. Like, it did happen if you didn't take a picture of it. So it's bad to think like that. So really just focus on yourself and your mental health, and if you feel stressed and overwhelmed, then take time off. That's what you need to do. So thank you guys for standing by me. Continue to email me. I love getting your emails about This Is Life Unfiltered. I've taken a few episodes down on the website, might put them back up at some point. But I love hearing from you and your suggestions of people. And I get so many people that like want to be interviewed or talked about on This Is Life Unfiltered, and I think that's great. And I always want ideas, so send them to me and I'll put them in a folder and we'll go back to them when things work out. So have an awesome week and weekend. Make sure to take a day off of social media, because I do, and it's changed my life. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can follow me on Instagram too, which is at Alexa_Curtis. Bye.